Welcome, Raider Nation, to another edition of the W2W Review. My name is Jason Smith, also known as The Knight, bringing you some free agent talk for March 22nd, 2019. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to just touch a little bit on the past few days, some of the signings, nothing of real significance, but I think it tells another story that I want to talk about today about as far as what we're going to be seeing come April 25th, 2019, especially on the first day of the draft. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it is that we've done the past few days, which is we went and got a cornerback in the name of Nevin Lawson, a guy who's played for the Detroit Lions, and this is a guy he played all 16 games. The reports say that he's a pretty solid guy. He's going to be more of a depth piece. And a matter of fact, all these guys I'm talking about today are depth pieces. When you look at our depth chart, Raider Nation, it's very, very weak. Okay. I don't even think on defense we have a full starting schedule yet. I don't think we're looking at all of our starters on defense quite yet. Offensively, I don't think except for the running back position, I believe that we have our starters in place at the point. If you before training camp, before preseason, obviously, just kind of looking at it from today's outlook anyway, I believe that our offense is set except for the running back position, which will fill itself out quickly. I think there's going to be enough on the roster where we could say Chris Warren and Jalen Richard would be our starters at this point, but that's neither here nor there. So we also got Jordan DeVay, the lineman out of Kansas City. I think he played. Again, depth piece, a guy that you're going to plug in if someone goes down, gets hurt, what have you. Camp competition, something that kind of create. You always got to create competition anyway, but this is a gap fill. You know, he may or may not make the team. He'll be second string, in my opinion, no matter what, considering the guys that we have on the roster right now. And then recently today, we picked up another safety, which, again, is just going to be creating competition at this point. There's going to be nothing. None of these signings scream, oh, no, this guy's going to compete so well. Then again, you never know, and I'm going to touch base on that in a minute. So we have a guy like Curtis Riley. Now, he has some interesting reports too. So, he's had 4 interceptions, but they say that's not a great tackler in the box. But with guys like Carlos Joseph and LaMarcus Joyner right now, I don't think you're going to need him in the box too much. So he may play a little bit more deep. So what I'm trying to get at with that, guys, is we look at some of what these players have done in other organizations. There's a lot to be said about talent. What is the talent level like on everybody's roster? Not just the Raiders in particular, but, especially when we look at our own division, right? Look at the talent roster that the Broncos and the Chargers and the Chiefs have. A lot of it is talent. You can never ignore talent. Talent is something that, that's why they have the combine. They're looking for speed. They're looking for size. They're looking for strength. And you got to have that physical ability. After that, you're looking for a scheme fit, which I believe is very important. And then after that, I believe are you as good as the people around you? And what I mean by that is a lot of your play depends on the guy next to you. I've covered that before, especially on the defensive line. When we had Khalil Mack here, I talked about a lot, and I thought Bruce Irvin would be the answer. It wasn't quite the fit that I thought it would be. I thought Bruce Irvin would draw enough attention to free Mack up, and maybe he did at times. It's been a while since I looked at any of that tape, and I'm sure there's some instances where that was the case, especially when you started moving Mack around a little bit. But if Mack is your only defensive player on the field, you're going to put all your strength to that one side, double teams, triple teams. You're really going to try to box him out. You're really going to need the people next to you to really perform at a high level to where they have to pay attention to the whole package and not just one area. So, again, is Curtis Riley good? Probably not. Is he going to make this roster? Who knows? He'd be a depth piece, like I say, either way. But again, what if this guy turns out to be a fit in Gunther's scheme? And I'm not saying he is. So, all the haters that may or may not comment down below saying, hey, this guy sucks. He might. I get it. He might. But you look at it from a scheme standpoint, coach standpoint, who's he playing around? Because a lot of the times we base players, and I've said this before, and I think it goes a long ways to say if he's the best you got, I'm going to take this as a best example I could tell you right now. Jared Cook had his best season last year of his career with Derek Carr and John Gruden's offense. And we often ask, why move on from the Raiders? Why move on if your career numbers were the highest it's ever been? Why would the Raiders let him walk? Why wouldn't the Raiders want, even at his age, why wouldn't we try to bring him back on a 1-year, 2-year deal, pay him a good chunk of money? Obviously, he could contribute at a high level with Derek Carr inside this offense. The answer is you're always going to look at your best player, and you're going to, for myself anyway, I judge it off. What did the others people around him do? Not much. I mean, Jordy Nelson had spotty moments, but Jordy Nelson didn't take over games the way that I expected him to. We all know that Amari Cooper may or may not ever had real passion to be a Raider. I'll never sit here and say that Amari Cooper gave up at any point, because I don't believe he did. But his energy, his passion wasn't one of Antonio Brown, like we see on his Twitter feeds and his Instagram posts and what have you. I mean, this guy has passion just to play the game, let alone to be a Raider right now. And I don't think we've ever seen that with Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper, talented or not, just did not perform at the level that we expected him to, consistently anyway, as a Raider. So of course Jared Cook is going to stand out because he was the best thing that we had. He was the guy that gave it his all. He really played his heart out. He beat coverages. He made big plays. But that doesn't mean you need Jared Cook, and Jared Cook is the answer. I mean, maybe the next guy can just be that Jared Cook, but even better, because you got guys like Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams, and this J.J. Nelson guy that's supposed to be a quick, deep threat kind of guy too. So we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. I mean, this is too premature for me to even overly speculate on this kind of stuff. But what I'm getting at is a lot of the times it's scheme fit, and it also who's playing next to you, how good are you. Some players just take over games. Some players can just take over a position and just dominate, and he can make people around him better. And that's what some of these players need. And maybe one of these pickups is a diamond in the rough that just happens to be a good fit for Paul Guenther's defense. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. My point is, let's not, I don't want, because I know a lot of people tend to just over analyze these kind of pickups is really what I'm getting at. Oh, this is just a waste. We're just, a lot of these guys might not even make the team. So we're just at a point right now where I see us really trying to fill out the depth chart at this point. We need bodies, guys. We got to have 90 bodies to go into camp. We got to create competition. We really got to raise the level of even the good players that we have. If we don't bring in the proper competition and people that could really push these guys, we're not doing them any justice. We're not doing our system and our scheme any justice to really prepare these guys and push these guys to be the best that they can be. And that's exactly what every single team does. It's not just a Raider issue. It's a 32 team across the board issue. What's what I want to talk about too. We lost out on Houston, and a lot of people are saying, according to reports, according to Ian Rappaport, in matter of fact, the Raiders were strongly interested. Maybe the money was too high, probably, but again, the Raiders. I mean, that's one of our biggest needs, especially right now, right? I mean, we filled a lot of other holes that we needed. We didn't fix our problems per se. I mean, I know there's still people on the fence with the Vontaze perfect issue. It's a 50-50 thing with me. I mean, you're going to get some real good, and you're going to get some real bad. And I think you just have to take it for what it's worth. I mean, Vontaze is either going to create penalties and be on the field for 16 games, or he's not. And that's just the way it is. We're not going to be able to tell at this point. History shows that he's not going to make it 16 games. And that's where a lot of people have a problem. And a lot of people have a problem with the penalty issue as well. And there is situations where it can become a problem, but we'll have to wait that part of it out. Let's see if he's a new start, a new place, maybe a new Vontaze perfect, excuse me. We'll have to wait and see on that. But when it comes to Houston, I thought, man, this would be a great guy to get in a 4-3 scheme. He's a pure pass rusher. I know his numbers dropped. He had that great year where he had 22 sacks, and they just went down all the way down to like 6-7 sacks. So again, is it age? Is it scheme? Is it heart? At the end of the day, I don't think the Raiders are worried about the defensive line like we all are. And that is because this draft is fully loaded with defensive line pass rushers. And we got 3 first-round picks. And I've been saying it this whole time. I believe that at least 2 of those first 4 picks are going to be a pass rusher. Could be a linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle. I'm still looking at what I think they should do with that number 4 pick exactly. But in my opinion, and not in any particular order, mind you, 2 of those first 4 picks should be pass rushers. And that's just the way that I feel now. I also want to throw in there, whether we stay where we're at or go back with that number 4 pick, I truly believe that number 4 pick should be a pass rusher on the defensive line. Defensive end, defensive tackle, that's primarily what I think. I mean, you want to get the best of the best at this point, and we need someone to really stand out and help Arden Key on the other side. And that answer might be in the middle, too. You don't necessarily have to come from the edges, right? We picked up that guy, Murray. He's a great edge setter. He's a good run stopper. He sets the edge. Maybe he's not the premier pass rusher, but if you get enough push up the middle, he's going to have opportunities to become a guy who can get some sacks. So if he's good at setting the edge and stopping the run, that could turn into something else if you have the right pieces in the middle. So again, speculation, my opinion. But I do feel that there's opportunity there at the number 4 pick. We need to go pass rusher. Now, I know the talk is still Dwayne Haskins, Kyler Murray, quarterback. I don't have enough time today, again, to get into the whole Derek Carr situation. I just don't. It really, really frustrates me to no end that people can't understand and just accept the fact that Derek Carr is who he is at this point. Whether you believe he's gotten a fair shot, that we should know what he is at this point or not, or if you're on the fence, like most of us are, saying, this is the year he has to prove it. And we say that every year, guys. So, I mean, it is what it is. I believe that Derek Carr not only has the tools, but he has the coach right now. And I believe that we're going to see it in year 2. That's just my personal opinion. I don't even want to talk about his past at this point, because ultimately it's irrelevant. But I do understand that if Gruden doesn't have 100% full confidence that Carr is going to take it to the next level this year, that you have to at least address the situation. Since we let A.J. McCarron go, I mean, he's got to be looking at these quarterbacks, but I don't think he's going to be looking in the first few rounds for this. I mean, we're trying to build a team here. And we got 2 first-round picks next year, guys, too. So I don't think we necessarily have to push the panic button and get the best quarterback on the market right now. You'd rather die with Carr this year. You could address that next year. We're going to have the power to move up next year with 2 number 1 picks. We can get a really solid quarterback coming out next year. So again, all this is speculation. We could talk about this all day. It's just my thoughts. So the pickups that we're getting right now, I don't think there's anything out there that's going to change the dynamic on the defensive line anyway. It's pretty much gone. The biggest thing I want to look forward to right now, free agency wise, and I think we all should keep an eye on this, is our running back situation. So Jalen Richard signed his tender. He's going to be back. Chris Warren going to be coming back. I know the reports of him being overweight. I've talked about it before. He'll get his weight down. He'll be fine. I'm not too worried about that. And if not, then obviously he doesn't have the heart to play. But I do believe he's going to be just fine. And I'm looking forward to see if he's learned how to pass block, because that guy showed a lot of skill set there. Young, fast, powerful, hard runner. Is Marshawn Lynch going to resign? I'm one of those guys that I wouldn't be mad if he did and not mad if he didn't. I mean, at this point, if we can get Doug Martin to sign back, there was a Twitter post by C.J. Anderson that I read today. He's looking for a shot. He wants to be the man. He wants the opportunity to run 16 games and put his talent up against everybody else in the league. And I like the attitude. I like the attitude. We had him in here last year. We sent him packing. He did some good things with the Rams. I'm just saying, Doug Martin, either you sign or maybe we take a shot at this guy. But obviously, if you're going to sign C.J. Anderson, he's going to be looking for an absolute. And I don't think he'll come to the Raiders because of what happened last year. I just don't think. If anything, we'd be the last on his list. So But I like his attitude. It kind of goes along with what I said about Antonio Brown. I mean, you're going to have that attitude of, being number one today ain't enough. He wants to be number one of all time. And I like that attitude. Now, CJ Anderson's tweet is not necessarily screaming that, but again, if someone wanted to give this guy an opportunity, Raiders or not, I think this guy has the potential to have an outstanding season if someone can just give him that opportunity he's craving. 16 games as the starter, let him showcase his skill. And every player deserves to have that opportunity. So I really, truly hope he gets it somewhere. Highly doubt it'll be us, unless we could really guarantee that he's going to be the focal point moving forward. But after what Doug Martin was able to do for us last season, I do believe he's going to be our primary focus moving forward, unless Lynch signs. I'm on the fence with Lynch just because of his injury. But if he can prove himself healthy, I mean, no one runs harder than Lynch, right? So then your backups at that point is Chris Warren. I really like to see if this guy can pass block, like I said, and see if he can, return to form and actually take it to the next level, because that guy showed some great potential in the preseason last year. Then Jalen Richard, the constant professional. I mean, he's a Gruden fit. He's a Gruden fit. A little small in stature. He always has been. We can keep talking about that every single year if we want. We can go over and over that. But the bottom line, the guy has a great skill set. He's proven to be able to run in the tackles, slip and slide, got great bursts, great movement. You can line him out as a wide receiver, catches the ball like a wide receiver. Gruden loves that, and I think he's a perfect fit for Gruden's system. If we end up finding that complete back, then we could talk about maybe trading Richard or letting him go. But right now, I think his skill set fits perfect with Gruden's offense, and he's a weapon that I think we absolutely need at this point. So I think we're going to be okay there. So again, looking forward, guys, we're going to we're inching closer and closer to being more of a draft type approach to these shows. We're going to get into some housekeeping in a minute, because people are probably wondering where's the video, and I'll better get into that here in a second. But it's going to be more draft oriented here pretty quick. I'm not ready to dive headfirst into the draft just yet, but I'm getting very close to doing that. So let's go ahead and move into some housekeeping, guys. The video's off. The last two videos that I posted up, I mean, the glitching was just driving me crazy. I'm hoping that this solves the problem. I was talking to the IT guy here at the church I work at, and he needs to do some firmware updates to some of the routers we have here. But outside of that, I think it's a blessing in disguise, because like I shared with you all, and for those who don't know or don't remember or may not even care, I'm legally blind. So I have an eye condition. My vision's 2400, meaning whatever you see at 400 feet, the idea is I can only see that from 20 feet. If that's the best way that I can explain it to you. I have tried so hard. YouTube has been my home. YouTube has been my platform since I started. I love YouTube. I'm going to repurpose the way I use YouTube, because I believe it's in my best interest to go more audio than video. And I do want to add the video element moving forward. I'm not saying I'm going away from video. I'm just saying that I don't want it to be my primary focus. And especially since the internet here has been a little glitchy where I'm able to record at this time, I've just decided to turn the camera off and really focus in on my voice and start creating different formats to train myself to do more of the podcast style presentation, because that's really what I want to take my focus to. I got some equipment. I'm going to be working on it this weekend, trying to get better at podcasting, because it's not that simple. It's not as easy as just turning on a mic and talking, although you have to have the ability to talk to do it. And I want to increase my efforts into getting better at doing so. And this kind of helps me. It also helps me feel more comfortable, just because I'm not worried about what you see and what I see and how I'm doing things when I stop the video / recording or not. There's a lot of factors into it. For those of you who've known me for a while, I've been following for a while, I think you understand what I'm talking about. But again, if I'm going to do the audio stuff moving forward, this might be the way I go for now. So last bit of housekeeping before we jump out of here. We're still working behind the scenes to put together a show, a podcast, if you will, with both Pete and I. So we're still trying to iron out the details of how that's going to look, how that's going to work, how we're going to do it, all that stuff. So be prepared for the Will to Win to return to prime form, a dual podcast, hopefully coming soon. Meanwhile, I do want to just try my best to re-energize this channel to the best of my ability, get some information out there from the Will to Win, and just trying to create an atmosphere once again that gives you Raider news and reviews it. So that's what we're trying to do. Other than that, that's all I got for today. Thank you all for listening. This is Jason Smith, aka The Knight, telling you to have a great day and to stay Raider strong.